What is up, everybody? Wesley Malott here, and welcome to a very special episode where we will be interviewing feature filmmakers Phillip and Chloe Carroll. Now, if you've seen Slash or Nefarious on our channel, then you probably recognize Chloe, but her husband Phillip is a writer-director, and together they made their feature-length film debut with The Honeymoon Phase, which recently got picked up for distribution and will be released for purchase or rental next Friday, August 21st on VOD platforms. The Apple TV version of the film contains all of the special feature goodies that you would normally get on a DVD, so link to the pre-order is in the description below. Now, I'm gonna shut up and we're gonna talk to Phil and Chloe about the process of making their first feature film as a couple. So first off, I just wanted to say congratulations on the
Here it is.
Already messing up. First off, I just wanted to say congratulations on the distribution for your first feature film. Can you first introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about the film?
Sure, thanks so much, Wes. That really means a lot. I'm Phillip Carroll, director and writer of The Honeymoon Phase.
And I'm Chloe Carroll, and I produced and I act in it.
And just for a little background on the film, The Honeymoon Phase is a sci-fi psychological thriller about a struggling young couple who enter an experiment that's being run to find out why couples fall out of the honeymoon phase. So Tom and Eve get paid $50,000 to live in a remote mountain house for a month while their relationship studied. And over the course of their stay, Eve slowly starts to go mad as she begins to question if her lover is really the man that she thinks he is.
I hope you all enjoy your stay here.
What was your inspiration for the film?
Chloe and I wanted to make our feature film debut together. Chloe's an actor, and with me being a writer-director, we really wanted to come up with a concept for a film that encapsulated both of the things that we loved. And Chloe loves horror films, and I love drama and sci-fi, and psychological thrillers seem to be kind of the perfect middle ground for that. Right. So we literally one night drew a Venn diagram on our computer and put down, you know, what Chloe's interests were, what my interests were. And we both like this idea of, you know, experiments, you know, trying to come up with a cool experiment that we could set a story in. And being newlyweds ourselves, we had literally just gotten married the month before. We started talking about what would the scariest thing as newlyweds be to us. And it was this idea of not knowing who your spouse is. You're waking up next to them one day and realizing maybe they're not the person I thought they were. So we took that, we blended that with the concept of experiments, and we came up with this idea of the honeymoon phase, which is, you know, a young couple going into an experiment to test their relationship.
Hello?
He's not the man you think he is.
Were there any anecdotal elements to the film at all?
Ooh.
Well, don't say it like that.
Throw a curveball at you guys.
Do you want to take that?
Yeah, it's not based on us at all, so please don't think that when you watch our disturbing psychological thriller.
I would say that the Tom and Eve before going into the experiment are based off of us, for sure. Tom is a young writer, and a lot of his struggles and you know, experiences are kind of based off of, I guess, me as a young married person. And Chloe's Eve. So, and I just want to say to anybody watching, we do love each other very much. So just keep that in mind too. The good stuff's based off of us. The bad stuff, completely original.
So what was the writing process like for you both?
Once we came up with the concept, I set out to put together an outline for the film. I'm a big outliner when I'm starting new projects. It's pretty much the same process for all my movies. I started a Google Doc with the film title, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. And then we knew the ending of the film because that was one of the things that we came up with that first night. So we had that plot point and we knew where we started. We knew they go into an experiment. And then the first couple months were just working on that outline in my free time and filling in the different beats. You know, how does Tom and Eve get from here in their relationship to here in their relationship? And then I would present Chloe with the outlines and she would throw in her 2 cents. And once it got to a point that we felt pretty good about, we started inviting friends over and kind of doing like almost like a table read of the outline where we would take turns reading the scene descriptions. I would get feedback from them, and then once I felt like the outline was solid, I set out to write the film. January 2017, I started writing it, and I told Chloe for our first anniversary I was going to give her the first draft of the script. So like I couldn't screw that up. I had to give it to her. So it was about 3 months of writing that first draft. And then from there, it was just rewrites. We had gotten into a competition that was being run by Shudder and Project Greenlight around that time in March. It was called the Real Fear Horror Competition. And you had to do a pitch video for an original horror concept, which we filmed. And our intent was if we didn't get into the competition, we would use it as our Kickstarter video.
In order to determine whether you're viable filmmaking candidates, we must ask you a series of questions pertaining to the project. You think they're up to the test?
So we recorded a couple alternate takes with that in there with, please consider supporting our Kickstarter. We actually got chosen as the best pitch video in that competition through a Facebook online vote. And during that whole time, we were doing rewrites of the script, and we got accepted as fellows at the Shudder Labs that year, which was really cool. So we had industry professionals help us workshop the script some more.
His results.
Her results.
They're perfect. Welcome to the honeymoon phase.
Though we didn't win the competition, that really gave us a leg up in terms of where we were in our creative process, and it gave us the assets that we needed to go and pitch the movie then to investors. So we brought on a business partner, John Carroll, who formed Aspire Motion Pictures with us to make the film. So at that point, we officially greenlit the project and started pre-production while doing rewrites. So the script actually never stopped being rewritten all the way through, editing the film, right?
Yeah.
It never stopped, even on set, I'd be doing rewrites. One of the things that I didn't know about before doing the honeymoon phase was how script revisions worked. In final draft, as I'm sure some of the other writing programs probably have this too, once your script is locked and you go into pre-production, you'll issue a white draft. So it'll lock the pages, and anytime you make a change after that, in the margins, there will be a small star. So if you tweak a line of dialogue, there will be a star or an action line. And when you issue a new draft of the script at that point, you'll lock a new color, and those pages will be issued on a colored piece of paper. So for instance, I don't remember the exact order of colors, but let's say the next draft was blue in your order. All the pages with the blue revisions will be on blue paper. And then, you'll have pink, yellow. On set, because we were constantly rewriting as we went, we made bets on what color we were going to get up to. And I think we got up to buff, right?
Yeah.
Which I don't even know what color buff is, but we made it, so somebody won that bet. But it was really fascinating to see how this worked, because everybody on set has to be so in sync with each other. And at a moment's notice, you have to be able to look at your page and know, okay, this is what draft of the script we're on. So the colors make that so easy to do, because time is so precious on set. So it was a cool thing to learn, and now even when we're doing the first drafts of new scripts, there's revision mode that you can turn on just for, sending it to people so they can see what your changes are, without having to read the whole script.
That's something actually I didn't even know, and I think that would be particularly useful for a lot of writers out there, because whenever I am writing a script and sending it out to people, I'm always saving it first draft, second draft, or just putting the date after. And as an actor, when you get stuff like that, it can get really unorganized really fast, especially if you don't know if a new draft was sent out, and then you find out later people are on the wrong draft of the script. So I think a color idea is a really brilliant idea.
Yeah, I'd seen actually so many drafts of the script from the initial premise of the story to the end. So many different versions of Eve as a character. So it's nice to know the exact one we're on.
Yeah, because things in that character would change
dramatically. Yeah.
Being an actor that is married to the writer and director of the movie and being involved in the brainstorming process, was there anything that Phil came to you with, idea-wise, that you were really pushing as an actor?
There was definitely one scene in the movie, which this is a spoiler, that I did not want in the film, which was the curling iron scene. I was very against that at first, but then the more I read the script and all the drafts that he kept it in, even though I was not initially for it, I was like, oh, it is one of those shocking scenes where, you know, you don't quite expect it to happen, and I think that's good in a film like ours.
But it makes sense within the context of the character.
Yeah, like it totally makes sense.
And where she is in her journey.
Yeah. So I eventually came around to it. But I think as an actor, you like pre-panic, you know, because when you like audition for a film, you'll see the script before you get it, like before you agree to play the part, and you then decide. But I was kind of seeing it as it was being wrote, and I knew that I was going to be playing that character.
And that went both ways too, where like I would issue drafts for Chloe to read. This is before we went into production, and she would be like, I don't think Eve would do that, or like, I don't think that's necessary. So it went both ways, where you convinced me for some scenes. Like we had a scene, I think it was after that curling iron scene where Eve is in the shower and she's just, you know, really upset, and Chloe's like, there's no need for this. Like, obviously there was no nudity or anything in that scene. It's just on her face looking up into the water, and she's like, no, this is just cliche. We don't need this moment. It actually worked better to cut right from the curling iron scene to the next day when she's talking to the character of the director. So I think that was the beautiful thing about our creative process, was because we are husband and wife, you can't really turn off the creative discussions. So we would constantly be going back and forth and evolving the script together.
And I think now that we've done it, when we do the second feature, we'll be even more ruthless with what scenes we keep, because we filmed maybe like how much more footage? The first draft was like, of the film, like when we had all the footage, was like over 2 hours.
Oh, the first cut, yeah. Yeah, I think it was like 2 hours and 6 minutes, I think. But in my defense as a filmmaker, it's pretty typical is to have, you know, scenes that you shoot with the intent of being in the final picture, but, you know, for one reason or another, you realize, you know, you don't need it. Yeah. But, you know, as a producing couple, I know that we can also hone in on, you know, what is necessary before we shoot.
Do you think that this has a strong chance of making the final cut, because it's just so much time and money if you just shoot scenes that like just aren't gonna make it, you know?
It's great. You caught like a legitimate couple's creative argument here on camera.
We could argue about right here, actually. Just
What's it like being a married couple and also creative partners?
What's it like?
I guess I'll answer that one. I feel like in production with the movie, before we're actually on set, so like in pre-production, we just talk like producers, and we pretty much live and breathe film entirely throughout our normal life, so we talk about it all the time. But then when we get on set, it's kind of just the actor-director relationship. There's no, you know, so there's no bickering or anything. Like the film is set, this is how it's going to be, and then you just need one person who's kind of like in charge of like how production's going. Otherwise it gets, you know, I don't know how co-directors do it. Sometimes they have to be so in sync with what they want, because otherwise it's, you know, everyone has an opinion on how it should be done. So I like that. Like we have a very professional relationship on set. And even in pre-production and stuff, I just get more of my way when we're not filming.
I wouldn't say that, but yeah, we have a good rapport with each other as producers. I think one of the challenges, at least in the honeymoon phase with that, was because each of us have roles that we have as producers together. Like for instance, like Chloe handled a lot of the pre-production stuff, you know, organizing casting sessions and stuff. And for me, other than, you know, the normal director prep things, a lot of mine was on the back end of the producing. So like our tax credit, you know, the editorial process. For that, our personal life didn't always like match up with what was going on in our creative life. So like once we finished honeymoon phase shooting, I went off and started editing nonstop, and then it was the tax credit, and it was all this stuff. And for Chloe, she was already kind of done her leg of the film. So from a personal life perspective, I think that was difficult in post-production because we didn't have a lot of time together. Whereas in pre-production, our schedules completely lined up because we were getting everything ready for the film.
Yeah.
We were like so in sync that when we wrapped, we didn't really know how to turn it off. Like, tell them what happened like the first week that we got home from the shoot.
No, this was during the shoot.
Well, it was both. It was during the shoot, and then
Yeah.
we had this PTSD after the shoot.
Yeah, it was weird because you go from just, it goes from being like completely non-stop to, you know, oh, you can lie in today. Whereas like 5 a.m. we have to get up to do this. But we had this one time where, because we were all staying in the house that we were shooting in, we were actually in the main room, which was Tom and Eve's bedroom in the film. And I woke up one day in the middle of the night because we've been shooting in there a lot. And I was like, I thought that we were filming. Like I was dreaming, I guess, but I sleepwalk and talk sometimes. And I woke up and I was like, Philip, I'm just really sorry, but I just need some direction for the scene. And I remember doing it and you totally believe it at the time. And then Phil woke up, panicked, and he was like, I can't remember what scene we're doing right now. He's like, let me just, and I was like, well, I need to know now so I can get in character. And he was like, just give me a moment, like, I don't know. And we were just dreaming together. Like we were having a full conversation at like 2 a.m. in the morning about what shot we were doing. We weren't even filming. So it was just this, yeah, weird in sync.
Yeah.
Sleep.
It's like a group delusion between the two of us. Like, and it carried on for like a week or two after we wrapped because you're breathing this 24/7. And when you come out of it suddenly, and because we were shooting in our bedroom, we constantly thought we were in a shoot. It was so funny. That's why. Sorry.
And we also, so because of the layout of the house, the room, the main bedroom that we were staying in. To get to another bedroom that crew members were staying in, you had to walk through hours. And so there was no like privacy really, like people would knock before they came in, but it could be like if they went out or something, it could be like 11, 12 p.m. and I was already asleep, like, because I pretty much slept like straight after set, so that I didn't look like a tired mess every day for the shoot. And like people would walk through our room and me and Phil are like asleep in bed, you know? So we were constantly used to people coming in and out of our like personal bedroom. And it was the same when we were filming, so there was kind of no like switch off during the 20-day shoot.
Yeah. And I think because Chloe and I had very key roles with, like, we were both producers, she was an actor and I was the writer-director, it was really important to have a producing team brought on to help prop up the film so that when we were in the zone doing our thing, they were handling all the day-to-day issues. So like, it was almost like this giant family that we had. We had our lead producer, Jess Weiss, she was so key to us getting the movie done. Brian Vernick, Yanni Roses, and then our executive producer, John Carroll and Andrew Vanden Houten. They really kept our heads on straight when we were so in the trenches of the film. It was really cool to see it all come together.
Now that's going to do it for today's episode, but be sure to check back next week for multiple episodes where Phil and Chloe will be talking about making the jump from shorts to features, some of the challenges they faced while making the film, and giving some insight into the distribution process. The Honeymoon Phase releases next Friday, August 21st on VOD platforms, but it's currently available for pre-order on Apple TV. The Apple TV edition is the exclusive digital HD home to all of the special features, including over 10 deleted scenes, an alternate opening and ending, complete making of documentary, and much, much more. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment below, and we'll see you next week where we really dive into the honeymoon phase.